Hello, I'm Felix Gans, Councilmember Ward 2, and this is what we talked about tonight. We talked about unwarranted acts in the city of Biloxi, in particular on the east end of Biloxi. We also talked about curfews, and what was very important was citizens' accountability, that the accountability of our citizens. Our citizens want a good community, they want a thriving community, they want a good community. And we discussed those things. And now, here's the meeting.
All right, hey everybody. Glad to see the turnout that we have. And before I forget, thank you to the ones that have been calling and giving a lot of information. I appreciate that very much. I know sometimes it's not easy to give policemen information on the street. Fully respect that. But I do appreciate the fact that a bunch of you have called, which has led to quite a few arrests and a bunch of things resolved here the last few days. This is not the first time and if you've lived in Biloxi for a long time, and in Ward 2, you know there was a time when we had some problems like this, and we solved those problems then, and we're going to solve these problems now. I hope that everybody got one of these when you came in. So we made about 30 copies, so there's a couple of them sitting together. If you pass one off to somebody who didn't get one, I thought 30 would be enough, but it was a bigger turnout than I thought. Again, I appreciate that. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's call it for what it is. If you know that some of the area that we're talking about was around 295 Holly Street. I'm not singling out that particular address, but telling you in that area. So if you'll look at that page, you'll see that there was 174 calls for service in that area. And when you look, you'll see this map. This map is going to tell you that's where those calls were. So right in the center right there is the point that we used on Holly Street. So everything's around there. You'll be able to see what some of those calls for service were. If you look on the road labels, you'll see that there was a person with a gun. That's the signal 46. There was only 2. But if you look over on the next page on the road labels, you'll see the discharging of the firearm. There was 8. That S27 beside it, that's the signal that law enforcement used. Signal 27 is gunshots. So you'll see that there were 8 there. Way too many for a neighborhood. Everybody agrees with that, I'm sure. All right, so we, early on, with help from the community, we were able to identify the majority of the people that were causing those problems for us. We've had talks with them. I know from the amount of calls that I've had over the last few days, everybody knows that we're down there, and we've been beating the bushes, and it's paying off. And I know that because people are calling, complaining to me that a family member got harassed. I do apologize for that, but there's no way to go down there and sort out who's who. You just got to stop them and you got to talk to them, and that's the only way we can do it. And we've done plenty of that here lately. And again, I'm sure most of you have heard that and heard some complaints, but just know that we're not violating anybody's constitutional rights. But if somebody's out and about in that area, guess what? They're going to get stopped. That's the only way to solve this issue. Now, the other issue that we had was the shooting. I guess somebody heard about the shooting into the house on Division Street. Show me hands if you've heard about that. That's what I thought. So we had that. As of about 2 hours ago, we arrested 4 people for that. That took place yesterday, and today we've got them in custody. And that's going to be the name of that game from now on until the few troublemakers. Let me tell you, there's just a few that are causing the trouble. And I bet you everybody in this room knows some of them, and you're probably going to agree with me. Good, decent people down there. There's just a handful, like there always is, that causes the problems. On that second sheet, if you'll look at that, that is the calls from July the 1st through today, as of just a little while ago. That's the amount of arrests that have taken place. So anybody wants to look down that list, it's a long list. I'm not going to sit up here and call them all out to you. But there's everything there from an aggravated assault, burglary, and you see that there's total violations were 177 and 131 people have been arrested for those violations. So we're not sitting on our hands. We're out there doing it, and we're out there doing it legally, and we're out there being mindful of people's constitutional rights too. So I guess it's up to you if you want to open it for questions now, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of questions.
Yeah, and I.
John.
Okay, yeah, and I wanted to just kind of reiterate a few things. We do have an ordinance in place that we're gonna have to, could you turn it up for me, please? That we're gonna start enforcing. During the school hours, from 7 a.m. to 3 o'clock, our kids need to be in school. And according to the ordinance we have here, if they're not in school, we need to hold the parents accountable. So we're gonna start holding parents accountable for their kids that are not in school. At nighttime, right now it's 10 o'clock at night when they get out of school, that they can be out. I'm gonna ask the mayor if we can bring that back to 9 o'clock, another hour, because we need our kids at home and we need them studying. So those are some of the things that we plan on implementing or at least enforcing a little bit more. There's another area that we're looking at, and it's tied to the nuisance law. The nuisance law, if we look at areas that have most activities, if you're having a lot of activities at this house, we're looking at possibly going in, looking at it, and seeing if we can consume that house. And you know what happens after that. I don't want no one to lose their home. I don't want to see any children homeless. But we got to have a safe community. And so, you know, if parents can't be parents, then you leave us no choice to do what we have to do from a city standpoint. So again, thank you for coming, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions for the mayor, myself, and the chief, if you guys want to ask any questions. Don't everybody be shy all at one time.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeremy McCarty. I'm a resident and a homeowner at 317 Nixon Street. I was raised at 270 Nixon Street where my 93-year-old grandmother lived. And I'm talking, we had the best childhood growing up. We had everything to do. It was nothing like this. If we had problems with each other, we fought with our hands and we fought with our feet. After that, everybody was through it. But now these days, the people that come in the terms are from 13 to 21 years old. And I got a couple notes. First of all, zero police and community relations. That's right, zero. I'm gonna speak on Nixon first, so I got to stay on track. We had 4 houses that get shot up. Listen, they come out there that night, I was just getting ready for work. They let out over 30-some shots out there. They had an automatic machine gun. When I tell y'all, like you hear it on TV, you hear it on the movies, but it's nothing like hearing it. You thought somebody's in our kitchen, find out. I told my mom, I said, hit the floor. They shoot. So that's that. So we went outside after the smoke cleared, and we was checking on the neighbors. Everybody was checking on everybody. That was that. Like another one of my neighbor's house. This is a whole different occasion. Miss Clarita Payton, a senior, this elderly woman of God, her house was shot in 16 times. And that is just flat out ridiculous. 16 times. My next door neighbor, Miss Cliffy Ingram's house, her house was shot into. I didn't discover that our home was shot into until the police was on the porch and we were looking at understand what was going on. So I threw a bullet through the window, through our dining room window, and it scraped our curio cabinet. Thank God that we were not in that place at that time, because like somebody could have easily been dead and easily could have been paralyzed. My next point that I want to speak on, anybody know that in order for the community and the police have to work together, it must be one unit. It's just like you cannot drive a car without keys and the steering wheel. It just can't be done. Nobody from the police station came. I gotta take one of these bags off, excuse me. I got to move them, I got to put what he's saying.
You're respectful of everybody's time.
Okay, yes, sir, I am. Listen, nobody came out from the police station to knock on doors. These are disabled, senior, retired people. Nobody came out to say, whatever, how y'all feeling, how this, and that. It's zero communication with the police. But y'all are the ones that we're paying, the taxpayers, to protect the servant. That's not what's happening. We are in the process right now on Nixon Street, establishing a neighborhood watch. We have to own the store with our community, and we have started on Nixon. I'm in touch with the FBI, Daniel Benson. I have made call after call. I have made several calls to y'all investigators. They never ever returned my phone call, except probably about 2 of them. Embarrassing. Moving right along, I'm getting ready to finish. Thank y'all for y'all time. As I say again, we need better policing. We need to install cameras. We have over 7 or 8 casinos in this community, and they're bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. So we need cameras on Nixon Street, where I live at in particular. The problem was supposed to already be addressed. I have reached out to the councilman. I reached out. I know he can only do so much because he's no guy, he's no man. But I reached out to Councilman Guy. I reached out to code enforcement months ago about darkened street lights on our street. Last point I got, we need vocational programs. We need drug rehabilitation programs. This community does not need another book bag giveaway. This community does not need another barbecue. This community does not need another food giveaway. We need vocational programs. We need better policing. Let's get the people that's addicted to drugs in programs. Let's get the people that's committing crime off the streets. They just want to pull over people. I'm from the streets, you know, highly educated, been over 30 different countries, but we have to do better. The police have to do better, because without the help of law enforcement, it's just we're making blank calls. Thank y'all, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I can go back to
How many of you can talk from the seat?
Oh.
We're question and answer.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me good? Good evening, everybody. Okay, so yes, we have been doing quite a few unsafe and intense situations in our community over the last 6 months or better. So in addition to these situations resonating, we are also dealing with the unkempt areas of our communities as well. Our neighborhood is composed of families that have been in the area for over 50 years. And although the neighborhood is not as flourished as it once was, it still does not mean we do not care about our neighborhood and how it's presented. And you know, there's still room for improvement, and there's hope that it still can improve. So with that being said, we want to be proactive by keeping our yards up to par and surrounding empty buildings and lots mowed, keeping those things mowed, along with not using our area as a dumping site. Additionally, I feel if our area is suitably presented, it can possibly send a signal that we do care about where we live, and it can lessen the probability of anyone else from thinking otherwise. And I do feel at ease seeing more policemen in the area, thank you. And I do hope that their presence send a signal to all that we do not welcome violence of any kind in our neighborhood. Lastly, I am asking the city to cut, trim, and remove all foliage on Brown Street and place 2 street lights on the north side of Brown Street. They call it an alleyway, I believe. It is pitch black at night, and this poses a danger to our community because it's inviting all walks of life and many kinds of unlawful dealings that can easily go wrong and unnoticed due to no lighting. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Right there.
And just as a note to that, when she was talking about our homes, there was back in February, a house on Division Street, right across from my mother, went for $90,000. A house on Raynor Street went for $160,000. So our property value is coming up. Code enforcement is out there, beating the streets, and I hear a lot of people screaming about it. But that's what we gotta do to get our community right. And just to touch on when he was talking about jobs, Ingle's been here twice. Once at St. Paul and the other one at Back Bay Mission. And 3 people showed up. We used to be a working community. Many vans used to go to Ingle Shipbuilding and back. So I want to see my home come back to that. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Councilman Guys. Mayor Fulfo, Councilman Guys, Chief of Constituents, all my neighbors, because we're all neighbors, no matter which side we live in East Biloxi. I'm Willie Walton Jr. I reside at 183 Keller Avenue, Inglewood. Today I come to you all with many concerns, but I only have one time to address one. That's causing a lot of turmoil in our neighborhoods today. Some of our neighbors are moving to are being shot up, some of the neighbors being beat up. From 1988 to 2002, I had the privilege of being a recruiter, army recruiter down here.
Can you hold the microphone?
I took a lot of our personnel out of this area that went to college or they was jailbound. And I helped them get another life. And I wish I could do it now, but I need help. Only thing I'm looking at, we have here and now in the streets, troubled children with no parental guidance. Chief, all we asking for is what type of support you need from us to provide to help us. After spending 20 years active duty in the Army, going through numerous deployments, some words that was put in my head from the first sergeant, and I carried until I became the first sergeant. There are many words in the dictionary that start with the word EX, but only 2 stand out that are excuse and execute. I prefer to the latter of the 2 because let's execute a plan that's backed up. That's what we want to do. Let's stand up, do what's right in our neighborhood, and as long as you got something for us, we're going to back you up, Chief. We have no problem with that. Councilman God, I know I call you all the time, but I always have a plan for you to come through there. And there's no problem for me, because I will execute what we have to do. I have plenty of neighbors live around me, know that we're going to make it happen. And if anybody needs help, like I said, 183 Keller Avenue, stand up, shout out, let's do back up.
I would like to just add on to what Jeremy said. With the drug activity going on in the community, you got the drug dealers, you got the drug addicts. Well, quite naturally, if somebody come into the community and you offer jobs, well, you take somebody that's a drug addict, that's the furthest thing to their mind. All they're looking for is another fix. So I see the pain, I see the hurt, because I've been there. So that's how I know. So I say that to say this. Coming up in Ward 2, my God, it was so beautiful out. We had East Division Street Gym, we had Pringle. It was so much for the young people to do. Councilman Guidance, I thank God for you. I really mean that from my heart. I want to thank God for somebody else, Pastor Pickett. I thank God for all of the whole can't do this by yourself. And I thank God for people like Pastor Pickett. I thank God for my pastor, Pastor Farrell. We do have a beautiful outreach ministry that we go out once or twice a month. And I thank God for that. But when we see it every day, it's just the people walking around like zombies on drugs. It's a major problem in this community. And so that's the problem Jeremy was trying to address. You're not going to straighten a drug addict up by giving him a job, but I do trust in the Lord. Mr. Mayor, Councilman Guines, Chief, I thank God for you too. But we do need some drug rehabilitation programs in this neighborhood. And I think that would be a good place to start. You know, that would be somewhere to start. But I just want to say I thank God for everybody in here. I thank God for all the churches in the community that do come together in Ward 2. And that's doing their part, because it's going to take all of us working together. Councilman Guines, keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, for the sake of time, let's try to hold it to about 3 minutes, because there are a lot of people that probably want to talk. So let's be respectful of all the people who want to have something to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to say that for years I've been coming. I just want to say this. I'm not going to condemn nobody, talk about nobody. Like you said, it's all of us to come together. Right. Well, this is the council, this is the mayor, and this is the chief. And I am the streets. I've been screaming this for the long. Everybody got a position to play. Just like the councilman say he don't know the people. Well, the people he don't know, I know. I am the streets. I've been trying to steer my hand out. I've been trying to express the problem. They have been doing a good job. Lately, they have come in and put their foot down, and they've been in the community doing what's needed to be done. But all that you can't do, we can do. You know what I'm saying? We got to work together by doing this situation. Everything's not right, everything. But when we came up, they had marijuana and crack. Now it's these different drugs, it's not the same. These kids are zombies, it's young people that's out there on the streets that they just gone. They mind fried out, they don't care what they do or what their actions is, you know what I'm saying? So, we get out there, we try to talk to them, we try to help them, whatever. But we got to address that problem just as well as the shootings and the rest of the situation too. I got a 29-year-old son that's out there on Melton Heights, and it hurts me to see him talking about Illuminati and whoever else coming to get him or whatever, and I can't do nothing for him. You know what I'm saying? I can't do nothing but pray for him. I try to put him in community and to help. They say if he don't volunteer, there's nothing I can do. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm not the only child that's out there, a mother that's going through a situation. I done been through my struggles. I still have my struggles. I'm not the best person in the world, but I tried, and I care about my community. I try to do everything in my community that's asking me. So whoever want to talk to me or whatever, all the people you don't know or whatever I'm willing to fill you in. I'm willing to do my part. That's the only thing I can do is do my part. You know what I'm saying? And that's my part. I'm willing to do that part. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Councilman. My name is John Kemp. My grandmother had 14 children, and so we're probably the other large family in East Biloxi. She raised me also. What I have in my hand is called a resolution. Raise your hand if you know what a resolution is from the City Council. So a resolution is a decision made by this city's administration to make something happen. I'm holding in my hand a resolution that was written on February 19th of 2019. It proposed a gymnasium be built in East Biloxi. So this resolution is 2.5 years old. And like the young lady said earlier, growing up in East Biloxi, we had 4 free recreation facilities. One of them was air conditioned. It gets upwards of 110 degrees with the index in South Mississippi. So that air conditioned free facility was a safe haven. I got my first job with Mr. Stallworth in one of those free gymnasiums. I joined the Boy Scouts in one of those free gymnasiums. I saw a recruiter for the military in one of those free gymnasiums. We had absolutely zero casino revenue. We had no subdivision revenue, but we had 4 free recreation facilities. I've spoken with the chief, spoken with Mr. Mayor, and I've spoken with this council. Again, we have 7 councilmen. When I speak to this administration, I let them know that my house lives at 178 Hanover Court, but I live in the city of Biloxi. That means that these children board buses during the school year, and they leave this community, and they drive through West Biloxi. Our kids feel unvalued. They might not tell you that, but how do you feel if you live in Ward 2 and you drive through other parts of the city that has things of value? Again, in the 1980s, we had Pringles Community Center. We had the East Biloxi Community Center. We had O'Henry. We had Mercy Cross, and we had access to the Boys and Girls Club. We have got to sit down as a community, as an administration, and come up with the funds to build a free recreation facility. That is the answer to everything that we're talking about. It's not about basketball. It's not about football. Half the time that we went into the red gym, they would put the balls up, we would sit down, and we would build each other up. That means young men in the communities. Mr. Crawford probably was in his 20s. Mr. Bell was probably in his 30s. Mr. Ephraim Leaf was probably in his 20s. We need human capital. I'm looking at men out here. When we have events for the community, it's 80% women at these facilities. Men, our women, have been carrying our community for decades. You gotta step your game up. They've been carrying this community for decades. So we can come out here and complain to the city council, we can complain to the mayor, we can complain to the chief of police. It starts at home with us. We have to be available. There are over 30 nonprofits in and around East Biloxi. Join one and improve your civic engagement. You have to get down when they have these budget talks. Right now, they're discussing the city's budget. They're deciding how they spend your taxpayers' money. If you don't show up to these budget meetings, they're going to make a decision that affects you the whole year. Come to the budget meetings. Mr. Krill does a great job. This is all public information. It's on YouTube. It's on the city's website. They are not sitting behind closed doors making decisions that affect their community. Every single thing they do is public. But until they have one of these in their hands, it's just talk. It has to be in the form of a resolution. The resolution has to be voted on by 7 councilmen and this mayor to make it happen. Please keep that in mind. God bless y'all. I love East Biloxi. I love Ward 2. Keep on.
I just wanted to piggyback off on that a little bit. I just wanted to piggyback off on that. And what he's talking about is back around 2018, we actually set aside $500,000 for a facility right across the tracks. That's on the back side of the Proc Center, $500,000. And I have a commitment from Beverly Martin. Beverly Martin is our supervisor, for those who all don't know. It behooves us to know who our leaders, because a lot of times I get all kinds of questions that I can't answer. But we have mayors and we have supervisors who have unlimited amount of money. And we don't want no half-baked facility. Yes, I pushed and I got $500,000, but we need $1 million facility. Because as you know, costs are going up. And we just can't build no decent facility for pennies. So we do have that. Yes, and the mayor reminded us that Oscar Renda had to lay down.
Where's this gym gonna go? What's there?
And that was our gymnasium area right there. Look, we can't undo what the past has happened. We can't undo what as our mayor say, BFL, but 444. We can't undo that. But what we can do is take it and move forward. I'm not gonna sit here and say what another politician before me did or didn't do. Our job is, it's in our lap, we got to move it forward. And the first thing was to get our streets straight. And now we can move forward. And we are moving forward.
Mr. Galvin.
Thank you. Chief Miller, I'd like to thank you and your staff for the increased patrol in the area of living. We have a big need. Two questions. The first one, from Lee Street to Oak Street, since the street's been fixed, that's a drag strip.
Oh, yeah.
If you can increase your patrols in that area, that will help out tremendously.
Absolutely.
Okay. The second thing, on this handout you gave us, on the second sheet, on the second page, this I've seen electronic communications. Could you elaborate on that exactly, what it is?
Yeah, it's obscene electronic communication.
I've seen electronic communication, you only have one arrest on it.
Yeah, that.
Okay, seen electronic.
That's somebody making calls that were indecent calls. Yeah.
That would have anything to do with the music that I hear on
No,
Lee
no.
Street, on Bullock Street.
No.
We have an ordinance then, that the music on Lee Street and I'm hearing on Bullock Street,
There is a word.
that is obscene.
There absolutely is.
Okay, if you can pick up on that, that will help tremendously.
Mr. Dixon.
Well, that's a karate term, one of martial arts, chief, I trained the SWAT team in Jackson County, Gulfport, offered the same thing for you guys. I trained SEAL teams from Stennis, Special Forces, Camp Shoulder. What I'm offering, like we talk about the gyms, a lot of these kids come to me, they know, I'm a retired fighter, MMA champion, kickboxing champion, and a lot of kids want to train. A lot of them can't afford it. Maybe before we need something going for kids, I'm talking about the guys. Back in the day, red gym taught karate, premium gym taught karate. There's nothing to offer. A lot of kids can't afford it. Especially MMA is so big right now. A lot of kids are coming to me. I'm in Gulfport right now. But I get something on our side. Because a lot of kids can't come to me, hey, but there's nothing to do. And you know, when I pay my grandkids to go to the crop, most of the kids on the east side can't afford the crop side. They can't afford it. And they want to do something. And MMA, boxing, kickboxing, they want that. And I'm offering, he said, I will teach and train you guys. Everyone knows me. John Dixon Dungeon. I'll put a dungeon on the east side, get the kids off the street. Something to do. They come to me all the time. I'm riding to the dollar store. They go, Mr. Dixon, I want to train. How much cost you know? And, you know, if I get some help, I talked to Mayor Holloway back in the day, and he was going to help me when I was on Ivoryville Drive. Now I'm going with we can get some these guys, get us by here. I want to teach our kids here, give them something to do. And I'll tell you, we will pack the house over. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Just one, two.
Chief, I'd like to ask you a
Okay,
question.
hold on. Let me
I
get
don't
this
need
microphone
I
to
don't need it. I don't need it.
You don't need it? You can.
I just want to know, since the shooting been going on, I want to know in our area, what are you going to do about it? What have y'all done about the shooting that has happened? I mean, since last when our houses were shot into. That's what I want to know, because we never heard anything about that since that incident happened.
Right. Well, I'm sure you've seen the amount of people who've been down there, officers.
Oh,
who've
yeah,
been
we
down
see
there.
y'all down
Well,
there.
that's what we're doing. We're hammering the air. We're not giving them an opportunity to do anything like that. And like I said, the Division Street shooting that was yesterday, we have 4 in custody as of 2 hours ago. We have 4, because we're not sitting on our behind, believe me.
And
We're
that's-
taking, somebody had said a little while ago, what can you do for the police department? Man, if something is bothering you, or something doesn't look right, call us. I can't tell you how many times we respond out to something, and somebody will always say, you know, I saw that the other day, and it didn't look right to me, but I wasn't gonna bother y'all with it. If something bothers you, make the call. Call us, let us know.
But as they say, it takes a village to raise
Absolutely.
kids, but
Takes a
we
village.
can't raise children if the mothers are not helping us.
Right.
If they're going against us, what can we do but call you?
That's
We would
what
like
you
to
need.
help them, but if we tell somebody, you know, you need to stop that, and they curse people, you say you need to pull your pants up, and they turn around and you get bopped in the face. What?
Believe me, I'm with you.
So it
Policemen
takes.
go through the same thing. Policemen go through the same thing. You see that disrespect with the community?
Yeah.
You see that disrespect with policemen? You see that disrespect with teachers now?
Yeah.
Teachers have to put up with that same disrespect. I don't want to say that it's always because they weren't raised right. I think there's a lot of pressure out there, a lot of peer pressure.
Yes.
I really do. And I think that affects kids a lot today, more than it ever did when I was a kid. I know.
Right.
We had peer pressure too, but it's a different thing now.
Right.
It's a serious thing now.
You're right.
Let me add to one of the things that I see, and you can see kids with no hope. You know, what can I do better? And what am I doing? You know, I have no hope. Gotta give them hope. Gotta have hope. You know, we talked about MMA. You know, give them a reason to come and do something that's productive. No, I'm with you. You know, we talked a little bit about cleaning up the places where bad things can happen. You know, let us know about that. You know, we'll make sure that, you know, hey, we got some pride here, and it's not gonna happen where I live, where we live, where our kids live. But, you know, gotta give everybody opportunity to, you know, to make it better for yourself and for everybody around you. So that's a big takeaway. I gotta have hope. You know? So we don't have all the answers, but we should identify some of the things we could do, and we will do. You know, the gyms is one thing that we've been trying to do. We're trying to get Oscar in to finish that North contract. We're trying to finish everything with that North contract, but that will move forward. You know, $1 million don't go like it used to, right? But we're gonna do what needs to be done. So there's some opportunity to do good things, good programs, but give people hope, give these kids hope.
All right. Anyone else? My brother.
That's true. It's different now. Hey, how y'all doing? Look, let me explain something to you, man. I retired from England 35 years. I got up to go to work every day. I had 5 kids. And what I see in the community, I talk with my brother a lot. Us parents need to do our job. You know, I hear people say, you know, I got a shop right there on the Vineyard Street. I retired. Put it right back up. I see all these kids in the community. They come up to me and talk to me. Ask me, could they do something? I give $10, $20, do this here, do that. I know all them kids. But the parents got to get involved. I ask the kid, I say, hey man, what's the problem? Man, my mom. Ask that boy, what's the problem? My mom. Where you at? Like that. You know, what you want me to do? What you want me to do, man? Huh? Okay, send it down, make you feel out. Okay, give me feel out. Then here come his mom. Hey, you ain't give my son this. You ain't give my son that. You quit getting your hair done, you never done see much kids. I'm just telling you like it is. Everybody gonna come out with the red gym and all this stuff. Get nobody no red gym, see what you kids. At 10 o'clock, I know my kids at. They're 5 morning, and number 2, if they act up in school, they do wrong, short game's coming. And when I come in, I don't talk. I don't play it. I don't cuss at my kids, none of that stuff. I get that switch and put on. That's what I do. And the police come, hey, take me to jail. And when they get out, again. I don't play it. They share with people because I hear people say, well, 1 or 2 is bad, that's the best community I ever lived in. My mama raised 11 kids right there, and everybody went to Nichols High before we integrated. I caught the most women. That's why I can talk like that. I got in trouble. I got in trouble now. I'm a hard head, didn't listen to nobody. Didn't listen to nobody. But I'm just sharing with the people. I hear people say, well, you know, Phil, we need to do that. Shorty, you know, you need to let them come over here and do that. I was a terrible kid. I done left. They couldn't tell me nothing. And I hear this, but I got up every day and with the English shipyard, Pastor, it was between 30 and 40 men leaving out of War II going to English. I was the youngest one, going to Pastor School. I had to get that call. I know what time, but I had to let the people know this what Biloxi used to be. And so in order for us to get back, somebody got to do their job. Thank you.
whether or not we run a group called Call That Man Back. I have a couple of questions for the panel. One, there are a bunch of vacant buildings in East Biloxi. Which one of them are you willing to give so we can bring programs to help the community? Because we're talking about waiting on the money to build the gym. Can we lock that date in? Instead of saying when this person finished, can you give the city, the community, a date to where we're gonna start for the gym? And my organization, I know a bunch of organizations that have programs that they're willing to bring to East Biloxi. And we're talking about the buildings and condemned buildings. Which one of these buildings is the city willing to donate to our organization? And we'll bring programs to East Biloxi. Yeah.
We're in the middle of budget time right now, capital projects. You know, it's on our radar to get the Lee Street property, rolling. Now, what I would suggest, if you have a building, we've got a number of buildings that are available for what program, what's the square foot, what do you need in order to do it? It's best that if you give that, hey, you got an idea, let's give us an idea, and we'll do what we possibly can. Every minute counts, and I think you might want to update on Boys and Girls Club and some of the stuff that we're doing there.
Absolutely, and that's
Even with the English situation, I worked in English for a long time. I'm no longer there. I work for someone else now. But here's my thing. When you bring Eagles out for a job fair for the community, that's 99% black, and most of them have charges on there, different charges in their background. You need to get Eagles to agree, and I'm willing to work with any coach, to get Eagles and other companies to agree of what they will let go, because Eagles, even if you have a record, if the paperwork is done right, you can still be hired at Eagles.
Absolutely.
A lot of people in the community doesn't know that and don't know how to do the paperwork.
absolutely.
So if the city would team up with us, we can talk to Ingalls, Chevron, Roy Anderson, all these companies that I got people that's willing to come in and let's get this paperwork done so these people can get a job. Now, when you got people working, if I'm working, I'll take ownership of my neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback, like you said, I know the human resource guy at Ingalls, and he has agreed because they need workers, and they need workers bad. So we'll take care of that. Also, just to touch bases with you on, we just donated a building to the Boys and Girls Club to ensure that they have a place, because the Hope sits where we used to say Bayview and by Augusta. So the kids won't have that commute to Mercy Cross. They're in the stages right now of renovating. So our kids can walk right over and get that assistance they need for education. And that building is being done, the engineers are working on it as we speak. So we are doing it. Like I said, I can't answer for yesterday, I can only answer for today. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please.
Just one thing.
Be respectful.
Let us all just remember, as the word of God says, the poor will always have with us. Let's not forget that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Right here.
Before I close.
Just right here.
Oh, that's
And just real quickly, I do want to encourage, and I say this encouragement, it may not be an encouragement to some, but I want you guys to know that this is not an East Biloxi problem. What's going on right now is not an East Biloxi problem. It's not a Biloxi problem, it's a societal problem. Just a month ago, I traveled to Copiah County up in Hazelhurst, and I buried a 16-year-old kid that was gunned down, that was shot 15 times. What's the day? Tuesday, just 2 days ago, one of my members who does not live locally, her son, who's a professional football player, was shot in the back during a drive-by. That's not locally. You see a lot of this stuff going around. And as I sat there and I buried this kid a month ago, I told them what the problem is in our world today is not that we have a culture issue. If you look around, not much has changed. We've lost some buildings, we've lost but everything is pretty much it. What the problem is, we have an accountability problem. There used to be a time when you could be on the street. I was raised in a single parent household. Hey, I'm a statistic. I met my dad when I was 28 years old, but I refused to allow that to affect me, and the people that were around me, the adults around me, refused to allow me to accept that. So they made me strive to be something. The issue is that, yes, we do have a household problem. There's not enough parent engagement. I heard someone say earlier that, we go to schools and we fuss at teachers now. When I was sent to school, the teacher was my parent, and that's the way I was made to respect them. There's not, even when our kids walk in the street, I make it my business to stand out on the corner of our church. I don't live in East Biloxi, but everything I do is in Biloxi. I only sleep in somewhere else. Everything I do with my office is in Biloxi, my wife's office is in Biloxi, my wife's business is in Biloxi. Everything we do is right there in Biloxi, and I make it my business to get out on our corner and I talk to those children. I walk up and down those streets because somebody did it for me. Somebody stood outside their house when I didn't have a father there to say, hey, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do that, versus bashing me. They told me what I could be. So I think the issue is, yes, it does start in the household. It does start in the household. It does start in the household. And my question would be, how many of us have engaged with those young parents? Because we got a lot of young parents. How many of us have engaged with those children that are out there that has a father that's locked up? I didn't have a father. I have one now. Me and my father has a great relationship now, but I met him when I was 28 years old, and I'm a success. I think what I am right now is a success from where I come from. So I want you guys to know that it's not a Biloxi issue. It's not an East Biloxi issue. It's a societal issue. And unless we get back as a community and a society to do what got us here, then we're going to always be this way. I met Chief Miller. I've been knowing Chief Miller almost 20 years now. Been knowing him a long time. And when I first moved here, I'm not from the coast, I'm from central Mississippi. When I first moved to the coast, I was in the Air Force. I couldn't come to East Biloxi. East Biloxi was off limits to me. So when we planted the church over there, it was a shock that God would lead me somewhere. Now I can't let go. We just recently purchased some property over it because I want this community to know that we're indebted to it. We're tied to it. So these issues, y'all, if you turn on the news, you see it everywhere. You see it in Chicago, you see it in Jackson, you see it everywhere. It's just that we're here on the forefront, and it's up for us to come together with the mayor, with the councilman, with the director, everybody, with these parents, with these school systems, in order to be there. We just recently adopted two classrooms in Flow, and I think this is something that we all need to. How can we help fill that void that's out there? And once we begin filling these voids, we can pick up. There's a whole lot of programs out there already. How can we make these programs better? I'm on the executive board of the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm forever indebted to the mayor and his council because of the issue that they see that we were having here in East Biloxi with our Boys and Girls Club, and they did something about it. We didn't go create another brand. We just partnered with our city in order to do something about it. So I appreciate you guys, and we can do this together.
Thank you, Pastor Pickett. As Pastor Sims come up to close us out, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for your concern, because your concern is still my concern. And I want to thank the mayor because he saw fit. We were in a budget meeting, we cut it short so we can be here to address the issues of our community. Thank you to our chief, because I've seen the chief in a lot of tough situations, and I watched him handle those situations. And we remember a situation in East Biloxi that I think he handled probably well. And if you look around the Gulf Coast, our chief done a great job compared to a lot of other cities. To me, it's an excellent job. And so we don't want to leave out of here divided. We want to leave out here together. We got to also start looking to engage back with our churches, because not only what we missing out this whole thing is, I went to Vacation Bible School and I had to go to church every Sunday. and now we don't see any kids in church. So, just like the pastor said, Pastor Pickett said, it's not just a counseling problem, it's not just a parent problem, now it's becoming all of our community problems. And so it's gonna take us banding together to get these things accomplished. And we're gonna make sure we get this done. Because we're not gonna let the inmates run this out. Not in our I wanna, okay. One more thing. Okay, we got refreshments outside, thanks to East.
Don't let them go yet.
Okay.
This is a good start.
Okay.
This is the start. I think we do this, we started school this week.
Yes.
Let's meet again in a couple of weeks. Right?
Okay, that's
In
right.
a couple of weeks. I hear what what I heard tonight, you guys. We're gonna do some cleanup, we're gonna do some lighting, we're gonna do some things between now and then. The Division Street arrest, those arrests, that have taken place. Let's meet again in a couple of weeks like we're doing now and see if we made this step forward.
Yes. Feedback. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, yes. I appreciate it. Feedback. I just wanted to thank Ms. Perriman and the East Biloxi Collaborative for some refreshments on your way out. Please feel free to grab refreshments. Thank you, Ms. Alitra. Let's give her a hand for the food. Okay, and without further ado, I'm gonna let Pastor Pickett bless us out. Oh, Pastor Stevens, I'm sorry, Pastor Stevens. My other pastor. Oh, you ball.
We're grateful for Biloxi, period. We're grateful for Biloxi. We're grateful for East Biloxi. And I stay in East Biloxi. And I want to say that there's some great things happening, but we do have to come together in unity. And we're right there at St. Paul. If we can be any help to you and collaborate any of that, then we're here for you as well. Let us pray. God, we thank you for this day, this time, as we share in this time together to discern our community and to think for a brighter community. God, we ask that you will bless right now the city council, our city councilman, God, police chief, and all of those who work diligently to help us in this community. Touch every pastor, touch every organization, every nonprofit, God, that is trying to build up this community. God, we believe that if you'll keep breathing on this community, that all things will be made well. God, we thank you for this day and this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
What's up, Mr. Creek? Hey, man. Long time no see. You about ready to retire, ain't you, man?